The exam score rankings have been revealed, and our protagonist once again secures a spot in the top 20 for the combined score. His impressive achievement of ranking first in both Japanese and English earns him praise from Shirakawa-san, who admires his dedication. Meanwhile, their classmates quietly acknowledge how well the two of them complement each other. As they sit quietly eating together, someone boldly suggests, "Why don't you two just start dating already?" Both of them freeze, their eyes widening in surprise and cheeks flushing with embarrassment. The bold suggestion sparks a flustered reaction from the pair, with one nervously trying to brush off the comment as a delicate matter between them. Meanwhile, Shirakawa-san and the protagonist exchange a knowing glance, both silently acknowledging the awkwardness while trying to maintain their composure. With a serious air, they clarify that after school, their duty as class representatives is to ensure the classroom is properly locked. They insist they're simply studying together until then, dismissing any romantic implications as just the logical thing to do. Their classmates, however, remain skeptical, teasing them about secret flirting sessions and dating, which only flusters the pair further. With a determined expression, the protagonist insists that a student's main duty is to study, leaving no time for romance. Shirakawa-san nervously agrees, admitting she wants to focus on her studies and is in no position for romance either. Meanwhile, their classmates watch the exchange with a mix of surprise and amusement, sensing the underlying tension despite the firm denials. Their classmates express disappointment over the lack of romance, joking about double dates and sighing that such moments probably won't come. The protagonist hesitates, then thoughtfully suggests that love is somewhat illogical, hinting at a deeper, more rational perspective on relationships. The protagonist reflects thoughtfully, explaining that the reasons we fall in love are often just stories we tell ourselves afterward, since our hearts have already made the move before we even realize it. Shirakawa-san grins mischievously at his words, clearly impressed and flustered, while their classmates look on with quiet amusement. As the protagonist awkwardly tries to backtrack, Shirakawa-san happily praises him, teasing him about what she loves most about him. Their playful teasing leaves both of them blushing deeply, caught off guard by the unexpected warmth between them. The school day winds down, students begin gathering their things as the final bell rings, signaling the end of classes. Outside, the sun sets gently behind the school building, casting a calm, peaceful glow over the scene. As they study together, the two classmates carefully analyze a complex sentence. Noting the abundance of unfamiliar words and tricky grammar, they agree to consult the reference book to avoid any misunderstandings. Determined to grasp the meaning fully, the quiet classroom and empty hallway emphasize the focused, thoughtful atmosphere surrounding their work. The protagonist reflects on his lifelong comfort in the certainty of schoolwork, where answers were always clear and logical. He realizes that his decision to become class representative was simply the most rational choice at the time. As he agrees to proceed carefully, there's a quiet sense of resolve beneath his thoughtful exterior. The teacher announces the need for 2 class representatives and asks if anyone else is willing to step up. A student hesitantly volunteers to work alongside Ushidome-kun as the vice representative. Ushidome internally acknowledges the task as troublesome but necessary, recognizing that waiting for another volunteer would be pointless. Though she maintains a composed exterior, the vice representative reveals a deeper struggle. Since that pivotal day, she has been unable to reach a logical conclusion. This admission hints at an internal conflict beneath her calm, rational facade. Though the question seems simple, she finds herself trapped in endless doubt, unable to reach a clear answer. Her thoughts circle back repeatedly, haunted by uncertainty about what Ushidome truly thinks of her. This internal struggle reveals the fragile conflict beneath her composed exterior. Despite her inner turmoil, she reaches out and gently clings to his arm, seeking a quiet connection. The unexpected closeness leaves him momentarily surprised, caught between focus and the warmth of the moment. Their shared silence speaks volumes, hinting at feelings unspoken yet deeply felt. Caught off guard by her sudden closeness, he stammers in surprise. She shyly asks if he's ever heard of oxytocin. Her cheeks flushed as she clings to his arm, hinting at the deeper meaning behind her question. She explains how oxytocin, a hormone released by the brain during close physical contact, helps relieve stress and fatigue. Their flushed faces and intense eye contact deepen the moment's intimacy. Suddenly flustered, she quickly pulls away, apologizing and urging him to forget her words and actions, her cheeks still burning. She tries to brush off the moment as a simple misunderstanding, pulling her hand away with a nervous expression, but he calmly counters, explaining that he understands oxytocin too. Insisting there's no confusion between them, he gently holds her arm again, suggesting that such breaks actually help them study more efficiently. He passionately insists that his feelings and the situation are perfectly logical, his flushed face and determined expression showing how much he means it. She listens, equally flushed and caught off guard, her eyes wide as she processes his earnest declaration. As the classroom empties and evening sets in, she nervously asks for his honest feelings about their closeness, her voice trembling. He blushes deeply but admits that being physically close to her feels nice, his sincerity shining through despite his awkwardness. Both sit quietly, their flushed faces revealing the tender vulnerability of this shared moment. Their hands clasp tightly. Both admit with shy smiles that the closeness feels good, their mutual warmth quietly sealing this heartfelt moment between them. The series is confirmed to be short, with only one volume released and the story planned to finish in the second. The author notes that physical sales of the first volume will determine if the second volume gets a physical release or remains digital only. Meanwhile, the two share a shy, affectionate moment, their blushing faces and subtle hearts hinting at their growing feelings. The girl quietly studies a vocabulary book on the train, her thoughts drifting through words like desire, recover, and stranger. Each term seems to carry a deeper meaning as she reflects on them silently, her expression calm but contemplative. Suddenly, the word affection catches her attention, sparking a subtle shift in her gaze. The word affection lingers in her mind as she holds the book close to her face, her eyes peeking over the edge with a mix of curiosity and hesitation. The quiet hum of the train surrounds her, framing this moment of introspection. Reflecting calmly on what happened yesterday, she tries to find the right words to describe the moment, struggling with her feelings. Despite her inner turmoil, she insists it was purely logical, until a sudden, sharp smack jolts her back to reality, drawing surprised glances from those nearby. She tries to convince herself that oxytocin simply eased the stress of studying, insisting it's not like she likes him. Yet, a sudden, vivid image of an intimate moment with Ushidome-kun flashes through her mind, sparking a panicked thought that maybe he misunderstood her feelings. Nearby passengers admire her dedication, unaware of the turmoil beneath her calm exterior. The group greets each other warmly as they gather in the classroom, with one excitedly showing off a new soda flavor she bought, while the others discuss the drink's strange taste. One girl notices Ushidome-kun is missing and starts looking around for him. Another student informs her that he was seen talking with Tanaka-sensei in the hallway, giving her a clue to his whereabouts. Caught off guard, she nervously denies searching for Ushidome-kun, flustered by the intense misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Ushidome-kun calmly enters the classroom, greeting everyone, as his friends eagerly ask about his conversation with the teacher, only for him to clarify that he wasn't scolded at all. Ushidome-kun, adjusting his glasses, calmly informs Shirakawa-san that Tanaka-sensei has asked them to collect notebooks from everyone by the end of the day and bring them to the prep room. He suggests dividing the task, volunteering to gather the boys' notebooks while asking Shirakawa-san to handle the girls'. The quiet atmosphere contrasts with the weight of the responsibility they've just been assigned. Sitting quietly at her desk, she softly acknowledges the situation with a hesitant, "Yes. All right, I understand." The classroom hums with the teacher's voice as students focus on their work, while a subtle glance is exchanged between her and Ushidome-kun, hinting at unspoken thoughts beneath the calm exterior. Relieved, she reflects on how Ushidome-kun remains his usual self, thankful that no misunderstanding arose between them. Sitting together, they share a quiet moment, feeling as if nothing has changed between them. Their hands almost touch, symbolizing the fragile continuity of their bond. She sits quietly, hands clenched tightly as a wave of unease washes over her. Her calm expression masks the inner tension she feels, eyes downcast yet thoughtful. Nearby, Ushidome-kun glances her way, their silent exchange lingering in the stillness of the classroom. In the quiet social studies preparation room, the two students notice that Tanaka-sensei is still having lunch. Leaving no one around to receive the materials, they decide it's not a big deal and agree to leave the stacks of papers there before hurrying back to class. Though they're just notebooks, the protagonist insists they contain personal information and shouldn't be left unattended. She suggests waiting for the teacher to return so they can hand the materials over directly. Her serious tone catches Ushidome-kun off guard, prompting a quiet moment of reflection. The protagonist insists on waiting for the teacher, emphasizing their responsibility as class reps and the importance of safeguarding the notebooks since they affect grades. Ushidome-kun suggests they might be overthinking it and questions if they really need to waste their lunch break. She stands firm, prioritizing responsibility and efficiency, willing to stay behind alone while he leaves, but he refuses, insisting they wait together to avoid any problems. She voices her frustration at the inefficiency of waiting, questioning the logic behind it, while Ushidome-kun's silence puzzles her. Noticing his unusual behavior, she remarks how different he seems today, clearly unsettled by the change. Their quiet exchange lingers, charged with unspoken thoughts. The boy stands silently by the desk, his hands nervously clasped together, her eyes narrow, sensing the tension beneath his calm exterior. His grip tightens, revealing a hidden unease he struggles to contain. She meets his tense gaze, her expression softening as a subtle blush spreads across her cheeks. His nervous grip tightens, and she senses a shift within him, stirring a quiet, unexpected emotion. As someone approaches, the moment is interrupted, leaving her caught between curiosity and surprise. She suddenly decides to leave, insisting she'll check the staff room for the teacher. Catching him off guard, as she walks away, he hesitates, calling after her with a mix of surprise and concern. Alone now, he moves through the quiet room, his expression shifting to one of nervousness and inner turmoil. The protagonist struggles with his impatience, questioning why he can't wait until after school. Meanwhile, she walks away, her face flushed with uncertainty and worry, silently asking herself what she should do next. The tension lingers as both are caught in their own inner turmoil. She wrestles with her feelings, uncertain of what to do as she senses his intentions growing clearer. Despite her hesitation, she realizes this will be a recurring struggle, with him planning to reach out to her every day from now on. Alone and contemplative, she faces the weight of what's to come. Caught in a storm of anxiety and confusion, she worries about Ushidome-kun's persistent touch, questioning if she can endure it again today. Despite her inner turmoil and blushing embarrassment, she tries to rationalize it as harmless, convincing herself that holding hands is just fine because it's all for oxytocin. Yet, deep down, she still struggles with the uneasy feeling that maybe it should wait until after school. Each time they hold hands, the moments stretch longer, deepening their quiet connection despite the awkwardness lingering between them. As the rain falls outside, she walks alone under her umbrella, her expression a mix of contemplation and unease. Her mind races with worry as she imagines the possibility that Ushidome-kun might not be able to hold back his feelings much longer. The fear of their innocent hand-holding escalating into something more intense overwhelms her, leaving her flushed and uncertain about what to do next. Just as she steps into the street, a sudden shout calls her name, and a hand grabs her arm, pulling her back from danger. Concerned classmates rush over, worried about her safety as the traffic light remains stubbornly red. The tension lingers, underscoring how close she came to harm in the pouring rain. Caught off guard by her sudden dash across the street as the light changes, he calls out to her with a mix of concern and surprise. The tension of the moment lingers as the rain continues to fall, their uneasy connection deepening in the quiet urgency of the scene. Called on unexpectedly to solve a math problem, the protagonist is caught off guard and stammers, unsure how to respond. The classroom murmurs with quiet anticipation as all eyes turn toward her. Feeling the pressure, she quickly apologizes, admitting she wasn't paying attention. The rain continues to pour as students walk home under umbrellas, the school day ending with the bell ringing. Inside the empty classroom, two students review the equation discussed earlier, emphasizing its importance. One reminds the other that this key point must be well understood. Their quiet study a contrast to the day's earlier tension. The classroom is nearly empty, and she wonders if it's still too early to stay behind. Noting that everyone else has already gone home, clenching her hands nervously, she reflects that usually by now, it would be about time for something to happen. Suddenly, her tension spikes as someone calls out her name, breaking the silence. As the day winds down, he gently suggests they call it a day. Noticing she hasn't really engaged with her notebook or been herself lately, concerned, he asks if something is troubling her and offers to help if she's willing to open up. Her frustration boils over as she lashes out, blaming him for her current state and insisting she has no worries. Though her sharp words betray the tension between them, he stands confused, caught off guard by her sudden outburst and denial. Despite her harsh tone, she accuses him of being the one who isn't acting like himself, turning the blame back on him in a tense exchange. She turns the tables, accusing him of being the one acting strange lately, catching him off guard and leaving him visibly flustered, trying to defuse the tension. He awkwardly asks her to stop with the strange accusations, admitting the situation is becoming unpleasant and deciding to leave. As he walks away, she watches silently, stunned by the sudden shift. As he tries to back away, she grabs his arm, demanding he admit defeat and apologize, accusing him of feeling guilty. He nervously insists it's not about winning or losing and begs her to let go. After he collapses to the floor, she stands over him with a small, satisfied smile, clearly feeling victorious. She slams her hands against the wall, warning him that karma catches those who lie. He struggles to contain his frustration, insisting that even he can get angry. His expression hardens as he delivers a final, tense warning. demanding she go home quietly or face the consequences. Cornering her against the wall, he nervously starts to say something intense, but quickly realizes how it sounds and backpedals. Flustered and embarrassed, she looks up at him, confused and curious, asking what he actually intends to do. His awkward apology and sudden change in tone leave the tension hanging in the air. She challenges him with a flushed, uneasy expression, asking what he'll do if she refuses to stay quiet. He nervously presses for an answer, the tension thick between them. The empty classroom around them echoes the weight of their standoff. He firmly declares he won't let her get away with it, removing his glasses as he gathers his resolve. His flushed, determined expression contrasts with her nervous, blushing reaction as she hesitantly takes his glasses from him, eyes wide with a mix of surprise and uncertainty. Their faces flush deeply as he gently holds her, urging her to hurry and silence him with a kiss. The intensity of the moment builds, their breaths mingling, until the scene shifts quietly outside, rain softly falling around the school. Their hesitation melts away as they finally give in to the moment, sharing a tender, heartfelt kiss in the quiet classroom. The world outside fades, leaving only the warmth of their connection as the sun breaks through the clouds. Even though it happened just a few hours ago, it still doesn't feel real. But it wasn't a dream. Today, with Shirakawa-san, something unforgettable took place. Still sitting in the bath, he can't shake the disbelief. He actually kissed Shirakawa-san. His mind races, questioning if this is really okay since they're just fellow class representatives. The reality of the moment hits him hard, leaving him flushed and overwhelmed. The protagonist's mind races as he wonders if kissing Shirakawa-san means they're basically a couple now. He debates whether the only responsible next step is to start dating, but quickly realizes he needs to calm down before jumping to conclusions. Frustrated and overwhelmed, he scrubs his hair vigorously, trying to steady his swirling thoughts. Trying to calm his racing thoughts, he imagines Shirakawa-san as a strict teacher giving a remedial class, posing a serious question about the meaning behind their kiss. Nervously, he raises his hand to answer, fearing the consequences of getting it wrong. Failure, expulsion, or worse. Determined to justify the kiss, he insists it was only to silence Shirakawa-san, comparing it to mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Not a real kiss at all. He passionately declares that the kiss held no special meaning and that nothing indecent happened between them. The strict teacher persona nods approvingly, acknowledging his answer as exactly what she expected from him. Feeling reassured, he dries his hair with a sense of calm, convinced his explanation was a perfectly logical decision. He reflects that if things had escalated, a teacher might have overheard and reprimanded them, so his choice was truly the safest. Though he convinced himself the kiss was just a necessary act, a flicker of doubt creeps in as he wonders if Shirakawa-san might want more next time. He steels himself, realizing he needs to prepare for whatever comes, especially if she repeats her bold behavior. Just then, a new question is posed, catching him off guard and raising the stakes even higher. With a confident and teasing smile, she leans forward, her gaze locking onto him as she asks, "Then what are you going to do to me, Ushidon-kun?" The atmosphere thickens, and the question hangs heavily in the quiet classroom, leaving him stunned and uncertain. Determined to regain control, he throws open the door and declares it's time to study. As night falls outside, he steels himself to focus, repeating a mantra to avoid distractions. Settling into his routine, he commits to starting from page 34 of the workbook, hoping the familiar structure will calm his restless mind. He tries to convince himself that his flushed face is just from the bath, dismissing any other thoughts as impossible delusions. He reflects on Shirakawa-san's usual demeanor, always serious, reliable, and smart, which only deepens his doubt. That's why he insists he can't be imagining anything more. Her usual composed expression slowly fades as she removes her glasses, revealing a flush spreading across her cheeks. The quiet classroom seems to close in, and for a moment vulnerability flickers in her eyes before she closes them, caught between hesitation and resolve. Their faces flush deeply as they hold each other's cheeks, closing the distance between them in a tender, unspoken moment. Meanwhile, another boy watches in stunned disbelief, sweat and surprise marking his expression as he tries to process what he's witnessing. Confused and flustered, he anxiously questions how a kiss is supposed to go, how long it should last, where to place their hands. Realizing he has no clear idea, desperately, he tries to recall a kissing scene from a romantic drama he once saw, clumsily imitating what he remembers, fully aware he must look ridiculous. Meanwhile, she mirrors his awkwardness, both caught in the vulnerability of their first tentative moment. The protagonist becomes acutely aware of every detail, the softness of her lips, the smallness of her body, and the unmistakable warmth and elasticity of her chest beneath the fabric. Each sensation overwhelms him, deepening the intensity of their kiss. Their lips part slightly as they break the kiss, both flushed and breathless, struggling to steady themselves. The girl exhales shakily, her hand trembling near her face, while he looks at her with wide, flushed eyes, equally overwhelmed, gathering courage. They lean in once more, ready to dive back into the moment. They press closer, sinking deeper into the kiss with trembling intensity. Both are desperate to keep their feelings hidden, holding back everything as if the world might unravel if even a single thought slips out. Their embrace tightens, a silent vow to protect this fragile moment between them. Lying awake, he wonders what Shirakawa-san might be doing and thinking about their encounter. His mind races with uncertainty, imagining she might be feeling the same way he is. Yet, he quickly tells himself not to misunderstand her feelings, caught between hope and doubt. Exhausted and flushed, he lies down, convincing himself that this is just a brief break before he gets back to studying. His cluttered desk waits patiently, a silent reminder of the work he's determined to return to, right away. Our heroine is caught off guard by Ushidome-kuin's unexpected expression and closeness. Unsure of how to respond, the moment between them feels surreal, leaving her heart racing as she wonders what to do next. Meanwhile, a quiet, intimate scene unfolds with a gentle splash in the bath, symbolizing the tender emotions stirring beneath the surface. She's overwhelmed by the reality of having kissed Ushidome-kuin, her mind swirling with confusion and uncertainty about what comes next. Despite her inner turmoil, she tries to find solace in the quiet bath, but the weight of her thoughts pulls her under the surface. She wrestles with the memory, insisting she only asked a simple question and that Ushidome-kuin was the one who escalated things. Despite feeling like a victim caught up in the moment, she firmly resolves that nothing beyond kissing is allowed. No matter what he says, clinging to this boundary, she tries to steady herself amidst the swirling emotions as she sits quietly in the bath. Determined to stay strong, she tells herself she must be firm starting tomorrow. Even as a concerned officer approaches her in the middle of the street, she sharply warns him to stay away, refusing any help, insisting she won't be fooled again no matter how kind he acts. The officer, confused, denies understanding what she means, while she clutches herself protectively in the bath. She confronts the officer, accusing him of forcing a kiss despite them not dating, her voice trembling with frustration. He adjusts his hat, processing her words carefully, before retorting that they both agreed to keep quiet, questioning who's truly being shameless. The tension rises as their sharp words clash, the officer's footsteps echoing ominously nearby. The officer coolly adjusts his glasses, accusing her of trying to seduce him again like last time. His words cutting through the tense air. She freezes, caught off guard, her eyes wide with shock and vulnerability as water ripples around her. Suddenly, a hand reaches out, breaking the silence with a sharp grab, leaving her breathless. He firmly holds her hand, questioning why they touch like this every day after school, reminding her of her own words about oxytocin making it feel good. She blushes deeply, caught between embarrassment and vulnerability, wondering if that was just an excuse for him to touch her. The officer coldly handcuffs her, declaring she's a bad girl and threatening to expose her true, lewd self to everyone. She panics, begging him not to show her like this. Her shame and fear laid bare as a crowd with umbrellas looms behind them. Desperately, she pleads for them not to look at her, her vulnerability fully exposed. The officer accuses her of lying, insisting she secretly wants to be exposed, but she firmly denies it. Her voice trembling, she struggles to find the words, her vulnerability laid bare as she begins to confess something deeper. Her wide, intense eyes reveal a mix of fear and unresolved emotion as she tries to explain herself. Later that night, she lies in bed, flushed and breathing heavily, still overwhelmed by the weight of her emotions. Sitting up, she reaches for a glass of water, trying to calm herself as the quiet room offers a brief moment of respite. She quietly sips her water, lost in thought as the weight of her earlier confession lingers. Her hands tremble slightly, and a flush spreads across her cheeks as she wrestles with regret, realizing the bath meant more than she admitted. Glancing toward the empty desk, a flicker of unease crosses her face, hinting at the unresolved feelings still haunting her. Normally, she would be at her desk, absorbed in studying at this hour, but now, she sits quietly on her bed, the weight of what she should be doing pressing heavily on her mind. The thought of studying lingers, a reminder of the routine she's struggling to follow. Her hands tremble as she clutches the glass, tears welling up in her eyes, frustration and hurt swirl inside her, making it impossible to forgive him. She wipes her face, trying to hold back the flood of emotions, but the weight of her anger and sadness is overwhelming. She reflects on how much she's changed, realizing that until yesterday, she never understood this side of herself. Meanwhile, Two classmates exchange uneasy glances, their expressions revealing a shared tension. One of them nervously adjusts his glasses, caught in the weight of the moment. Her hands tremble as she holds her glasses, her voice barely a whisper as she calls out his name. She remembers him as the one who showed her what it truly feels like to touch someone's lips with her own, a memory both tender and painful. She presses her trembling hands to her lips, softly kissing them as if trying to hold onto a fleeting memory. Sitting alone on her bed, the quiet gesture reveals the tender ache still lingering within her heart. Her trembling hands bring her fingers to her lips once more, softly kissing them as tears glisten in her eyes. She whispers through her tears, blaming him gently. "It's your fault. It's all because of you, Ushidome-kun." The weight of her emotions overwhelms her, mixing longing and sorrow in this quiet confession. She curls up on her bed, overwhelmed by anxiety and uncertainty. Her thoughts spiral as she wonders how she'll face Ushidome-kun tomorrow, the weight of her emotions making it hard to breathe. Tears well up as she struggles to find the strength to confront the inevitable. Her trembling lips brush against her fingers as she wrestles with the overwhelming emotions tied to Ushidome-kun. The ache in her heart deepens, realizing how much he has changed her, leaving her forever altered. The quiet confession lingers, marking the end of this chapter in their story. The new day begins with our hero struggling to stay awake, yawning widely as the morning light creeps in. He rubs his tired eyes, admitting he barely got any sleep last night, staggering along with his classmates. Exhaustion clearly weighs heavily on him as the day starts. Our hero anxiously wonders if she'll notice his exhaustion, haunted by the thought that she might realize he stayed up all night. He tries to convince himself it's impossible she'd know and resolves to act normal, hoping to greet her naturally without revealing his sleep deprivation. Despite the struggle, he steels himself to face the day as usual. As the students walk to school, she adjusts her glasses, letting out a quiet yawn that betrays her own tiredness. Our hero watches her carefully, heart pounding as she seems unaware of his struggle. Their eyes finally meet, and for a moment, everything feels still. Their eyes lock, and an intense blush spreads across both their faces, each overwhelmed by a sudden rush of emotion. The silence between them is heavy, broken only by a hesitant, trembling sound as they struggle to find words. The tension is palpable, their nervousness mirrored in every small movement. Their shy, stammered greetings break the heavy silence, both struggling to sound normal despite their flushed faces. As the school bell rings, the hall fills with casual chatter and cheerful hellos from other students, contrasting the lingering tension between them. Walking side by side toward their lockers, they try to blend in, but the weight of unspoken feelings still hangs between them. Noticing her flushed and uneasy expression, he awkwardly asks if she's sleep-deprived, mentioning she looked sleepy earlier and wonders what kept her up so late. She freezes, caught off guard by his concern, her cheeks deepening in color as she tries to process his unexpected question. The moment hangs between them, charged with unspoken feelings and a growing sense of vulnerability. She nervously admits she was up late studying, her voice barely above a whisper as she avoids his gaze. The boy, sweating and blushing, processes her answer with a shy, awkward smile. Around them, the school hallway buzzes with other students, but their quiet exchange feels like its own world. He shyly admits he was up late too, his confession hanging in the air as he avoids her gaze, cheeks flushed and sweat visible. She swallows nervously, her heart pounding as their shared vulnerability deepens the connection between them. The quiet tension lingers as they stand side by side, both caught in the weight of this unexpected moment. As he reaches to put away his shoes, they slip from his hand and fall to the floor with a soft thud. She notices and calls out to him hesitantly, concern evident in her voice. Embarrassed, he awkwardly apologizes, caught off guard by the small mishap. Flustered and sweating, she mutters to herself about needing to hurry and pick up the fallen shoes. The boy watches her, equally embarrassed, his mind racing as he wonders, what on earth? The awkward tension between them lingers, both caught off guard by the unexpected closeness. He hesitates, unsure how to navigate this new closeness as he reaches for the fallen shoes. The simple act of handing them back feels charged, making him question how they're supposed to act around each other now. Their fingers brush briefly, heightening the awkward tension as they both struggle to find their footing in this changed dynamic. Blushing and flustered, she quietly thanks him as she slips her shoes back into her locker. The day suddenly feels unbearably long, and despite her nerves, she finds herself eagerly anticipating what comes after school. The quiet school hallway stretches empty, bathed in the fading light of day. Outside, the sky is painted with soft clouds, hinting at the approaching evening. She cautiously peeks out from the bathroom stall, her eyes scanning the empty room before stepping out into the silence. Alone in the quiet bathroom, she takes a moment to steady herself, drying her hands as her thoughts swirl. A faint, almost imperceptible smile tugs at her lips, hinting at a newfound resolve. Outside, the silhouette of the two figures in the fading light suggests a connection deepening beyond words. Her footsteps echo sharply as she rushes through the empty hallway, heart pounding with a mix of excitement and nervousness. She pauses, cheeks flushed, caught between hesitation and determination. Alone by the sinks, she steadies herself, the quiet stillness amplifying the weight of her swirling emotions. In the quiet classroom, a solitary boy sits at his desk, lost in thought as the late afternoon light filters through the windows. His expression shifts from calm to tense, fingers pinching the bridge of his glasses as a flush of anxiety creeps in. Suddenly, the door slides open, and a girl steps inside, breaking the stillness and catching his attention. The boy, already focused on his work and a bit flustered, asks Shirakawa to take her seat and study. Having ensured the windows are locked, Shirakawa stands hesitantly in the doorway, her hands clenched nervously as she musters the courage to speak. She apologizes softly, struggling to find the right words to explain herself. Shirakawa stands at the doorway, her face tense and uncertain as she finally gathers the courage to speak. The boy, now visibly sweating, looks back at her with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. Her quiet confession breaks the silence. Ushidome-kun, there's something I want to talk about. The moment hangs heavy, charged with unspoken emotions. The day has arrived when she vows to finally pull herself together. A resolution that's been on her mind every single day. As she stands at the classroom door, determination mixes with a hint of hesitation. The moment feels heavy, as if the next step she takes will define everything. She finally speaks up, her voice trembling as she asks if he's been unable to focus on studying because of her. The question hangs heavily in the quiet classroom. Caught off guard, he looks up, surprised and unsure how to respond. He stammers, clearly flustered and struggling to find the right words, insisting it's not what she thinks, trying to steady himself. He reminds her they had already talked about studying late the previous night. Yet, her doubt lingers as she presses him, questioning if that's really the truth. She struggles to hold back tears, her voice trembling as she asks again if he's truly okay. The weight of her emotions is clear as she fights to keep composure. Reaching out hesitantly, their fingers brush, a tentative connection amid the uncertainty. She finally breaks down, admitting she's no longer acting like herself and feels overwhelmed by her own thoughts. The more she tries to push them away, the more they consume her, leaving her vulnerable and exposed. Meanwhile, he watches silently, his expression unreadable as he takes in her confession. She quietly admits her fear that if things continue as they are, she'll become nothing but a nuisance to him. Reluctantly, she confesses she never wanted to voice these feelings, yet the weight of her emotions pushes her to speak up. As she turns away, her grip tightens on the doorframe, revealing the struggle inside. She quietly suggests that maybe it's better if they stop meeting like this, her voice heavy with resignation. The distance between them feels vast as she admits that ending their encounters would be the more logical choice. The weight of her words hangs in the air, deepening the silence between them. He finally breaks his silence, acknowledging her feelings with a quiet admission that she might be right. He apologizes for his earlier reticence and confesses he's been struggling to focus himself lately, revealing a vulnerability that mirrors her own. The distance between them remains, but the tension begins to shift as they confront their shared unease. He quietly admits that she's right, acknowledging that if things don't change, continuing their study sessions might be pointless. As she stands at the doorway, the silence lingers heavily between them. Slowly, he steps away, leaving her alone in the fading light. Just as the quiet distance between them threatens to settle, he reaches out gently from behind, breaking the silence with a tentative, grounding touch. Their eyes meet, a mix of hesitation and unspoken understanding passing between them in the stillness of the doorway. Their eyes lock in a charged moment, both caught off guard by the sudden closeness. He stammers, struggling to find the right words, before breaking the tension with an unexpected question about helicopters. The shift in topic leaves her flushed and bewildered, the awkwardness between them lingering in the quiet room. He awkwardly explains the law of action and reaction, comparing it to how a helicopter floats by pushing air down. Nervously, he suggests that for them to focus on studying, they need to apply the same principle in their own way. She processes his awkward logic, realizing that trying to focus might actually make them focus less. The tension lingers as they both acknowledge that stopping now would only make things more uncomfortable and could lead to future regrets. Despite the uncertainty, they decide to push forward, unwilling to let the moment slip away. Both silently raise their hands, acknowledging the unspoken thought that lingers between them. They would look back and wonder what might have happened if things had taken a different path. The weight of possibility hangs in the air, deepening the quiet connection. Despite the uncertainty of how things will turn out, she quietly admits her feelings, while he sincerely expresses his desire to keep moving forward together. Their hands reach out and clasp, sealing their unspoken promise to face whatever comes side by side. As they part ways in the empty classroom, a quiet tension lingers between them. He pauses, adjusting his glasses, while she turns away, wiping tears from her eyes. The unspoken emotions hang heavy as they face the uncertain path ahead. She nervously removes her glasses, her cheeks flushed as she gathers the courage to speak her heart. Quietly, she admits she wants to keep moving forward together, focusing on their studies side by side. He listens intently, adjusting his own glasses, silently affirming their shared commitment to face tomorrow with renewed determination. In the quiet classroom bathed in soft light, they draw close, sharing a tender moment away from the pressures of their daily lives. She softly suggests they spend some time together, just the two of them, doing something beyond their usual studies. Their embrace speaks volumes, a silent promise to cherish these fleeting moments side by side. As night falls, he offers to walk her to the station, but she politely declines, explaining it would make him get home later and their homes are in opposite directions. He acknowledges her reasoning with a quiet acceptance. With a respectful bow, she bids him good night, determined not to miss her train, leaving him standing alone by the lockers. Though usually confident in his studies, he can't help but feel uncertain when it comes to Shirakawa-san. Reflecting on their interactions, he questions if his choices were truly right, struggling with the unfamiliar emotions she stirs within him. As she softly says goodbye with a gentle, "See you tomorrow, Ushidome-kun." Her calm demeanor lingers in the quiet classroom. He walks away, the words echoing in his mind, stirring a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. The simple farewell carries a weight he can't quite shake, leaving him lost in thought as night deepens around him. As the quiet night blankets the city, he realizes that hearing her simple farewell brings him more joy than any perfect exam score ever could. The weight of those words lingers, marking a new kind of happiness he's only beginning to understand. Spring arrives with cherry blossoms and the start of the entrance ceremony. Our protagonist, now a high school student, quietly reflects that he thought nothing would change with this new chapter. Yet, as the announcement calls all new students to the gym, a subtle sense of anticipation lingers in the air. As he walks through the halls, the protagonist notes the bigger school and the increase in students and subjects compared to middle school. Though he wonders if these are the only changes, his thoughts are interrupted by classmates whispering about a girl they found cute earlier. Whispers ripple through the halls about the student council president, rumored to be a real hottie, sparking playful bets among classmates about who'll get a girlfriend first in high school. Amid the chatter, the protagonist walks quietly, his thoughts turning inward as he contemplates romance. Not with avoidance, but with a lingering curiosity he's never fully understood. The protagonist calmly brushes off a girl who bumps into him, explaining that everyone has their own passions and that he prefers to devote his time to studying. His composed demeanor catches the attention of a girl nearby, who adjusts her glasses and looks at him with a serious, focused expression. The girl quickly apologizes for bumping into him, bowing sincerely, while he reassures her not to worry. He admits he might have been spacing out and walking too slowly, taking the blame himself and offering his own apology. Their brief exchange carries a quiet, mutual respect beneath the surface. The girl insists it wasn't her fault for bumping into him, but the protagonist gently insists otherwise, explaining he was distracted by the beauty of the cherry blossoms outside. As petals drift around them, he admits he was carelessly looking away, captivated by the scenery rather than paying attention to where he was going. The protagonist calmly reasons that even if he had been walking slowly, he should have been able to avoid the collision by facing forward, taking full responsibility for the accident. The girl, however, firmly assures him that he didn't do anything wrong and insists he doesn't need to apologize. The protagonist stands quietly, still processing the moment, as cherry blossom petals drift gently around him. The girl bows politely, signaling the end of their brief encounter, and they part ways down the hallway. A third student watches them leave, her expression unreadable. With a quiet step forward, the protagonist walks down the hallway, surrounded by fellow students. As cherry blossom petals drift gently in the air, he reflects on this moment, the beginning of his high school life. The story's title, Chie Aru Koibito, is revealed with quiet elegance, setting the stage for a tale where intellect and love intertwine, presented by Daichi Nakano. This moment marks the official beginning of their journey together. In the quiet classroom, the duo exchanges a subtle glance, their expressions calm but charged with unspoken thoughts. The atmosphere is heavy with anticipation, hinting at the complex emotions simmering just beneath the surface. Their shared silence speaks volumes, drawing us deeper into their intricate connection. Rain pours steadily over the quiet neighborhood, umbrellas dotting the street as people move silently through the downpour. The heavy rain mirrors the weight of unspoken thoughts lingering in the air, setting a somber, reflective mood. A sudden wave of nervousness washes over her as she clutches her glasses, beads of sweat forming on her cheek. The quiet room feels heavier, the tension between her thoughts almost palpable. In this fragile moment, vulnerability peeks through her composed exterior. The girl stands quietly on the crowded train, gripping the overhead strap with a tired, almost resigned expression. Surrounded by blurred figures, she seems lost in her own thoughts, weighed down by the day's lingering emotions.